What's happening, YouTube? I'm Josh Tedder here for 6 Months Later, and today I'd like to talk about a few updates that the Google Home has received since we did our 6 months review of the device, as well as go over a couple of features I didn't mention in my original view for the Google Home that I've also found to be quite useful and quite nifty, and they're features the Google Home can do that aren't really talked about a lot. So the new features include how the Google Home controls music speaker groups, as well as, of course, making phone calls from the Google Home. That was the main update the device has received over the past few months. And then some of the features I'd also like to talk about that I found are pretty nifty are one, custom responses using the new shortcuts feature in the Google Home, and then, of course, translating phrases into different languages with the Google Home. So first, let's go ahead and dive right into the music speaker group feature with the Google Home. Now, how this feature worked originally was, let's say you were playing some music on a speaker group. So for instance, in my bedroom, I have my computer speakers hooked up with the bedroom Google Home. Now, what would happen is if you were playing music on bedroom speakers, which is the name of the speaker group, and then you asked the Google Home, you said like, okay, Google, play the latest Ed Sheeran song. What would happen is it would only play that Ed Sheeran song on the Google Home device itself, and it would not play it among all of the other speakers in the speaker group. So you would have to tell it to play the new Ed Sheeran song to the specific speaker group. So if you're listening to music and you're constantly wanting it to play different things, this becomes very tedious because every time you wanted to play something new, you had to say the speaker group you wanted it to play to. So now Google finally fixed this problem, and I'm so happy they did. Now the way it works is, let's say you're playing a song on bedroom speakers and you tell Google, okay Google, play Castle on the Hill by Ed Sheeran. And I'm so sorry if you already have Google Home, I just probably triggered your device. It's hard to talk about it without saying the trigger word. I'll try to be better. So if you tell it to say, play Castle on the Hill, what it'll do is it'll just play the song on the speaker group you were already listening to music to, which is kind of how this feature probably should have worked to begin with. It makes so much sense, and it's very intuitive the way it works. If you only want to play it on the Google Home and you were just playing music on the speaker group, just tell Google to play the song on the Google Home and it'll only play it on that device. Now, another really cool part of this feature is, let's say you were listening to some music. For my example, I was listening to some music in my bedroom on the speaker group bedroom speakers. I go out into the kitchen, make dinner, and then I come back. It's been about an hour and a half, and then I want to listen to some more music. So I could say to Google, I would ask it to play some Michael Bublé or something like that. And what it would do is the Google Home will now prompt you and say, okay, would you like to still listen to this on bedroom speakers? And then you can say yes, and it'll continue playing music on the speaker group that you last played music on. Now, another great feature that I've used the Google Home for is creating custom responses for the Google Homes. So I actually made a video on how to create custom responses for the Google Home. You may have seen that if you've seen any of my other videos on my channel. And what that technique is using is if this then that as sort of the middleware to combine the Google Home phrase with the response. Well, thank you so much to the viewer Keith Kai, who commented on my 6 months later review of the Google Home. Keith pointed out that Google actually had released a new update to the Google Assistant with a new feature called shortcuts. And what shortcuts allow you to do is, just like in the name, it allows you to do a shortcut. So instead of telling Google to turn off all of your lights at night, you can just tell Google good night and have it set so it will go ahead and turn off all of your lights. So it's similar to functionality that third-party apps like If This Then That do. Right now it only supports doing one action, so it will only turn off your lights. It won't like turn off your lights and set your thermostat down to a separate temperature. But the really cool thing about this feature is you can also use it for custom responses. I just did one earlier right before shooting. Hey Google, Westworld.
These violent delights have violent ends.
For the viewers who are fans of Westworld, hopefully you will enjoy that, and for everyone else, you'll have no idea what the heck the Google Home was just talking about. Now, another feature I've been using a lot with the Google Home lately that I did not mention in my previous review and didn't even know it really existed until I just tried it and asked Google is translating phrases into different languages. So let's say, for example, you're going to Mexico in the next couple of months and you want to start practicing common phrases just to make sure you're getting your pronunciation right or that you're actually just saying the right thing and having the same structure in your sentence. So for instance, you can ask Google, how do I say where is the bathroom in Spanish?
¿Dónde está el baño?
So then you can take that phrase that it replied, you can practice pronouncing it in your head a couple times, and then you can say, okay Google, translate, ¿Dónde está el baño?
Where is the bathroom?
If it translates back what you want to say, then you know, okay, I probably have this sort of right. Again, it's not going to be 100% accurate depending on which country you're going to and which dialect of the language you're dealing with. But if the Google Home can understand what you're trying to say and it's saying, okay, this is what that phrase means, you're probably 80% of the way there. Now, the languages that I've noticed this works with so far, I tested it in French, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, German, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, and Russian. So those are some of the languages I've noticed it does work with, to name a few. There are probably additional languages it works with as well. All right, now the last feature I wanted to talk to you guys about is calling from the Google Home. This is a major feature that Google pushed out a few months ago, and while I'd say it's enjoyable to use, it isn't quite ready for prime time yet. It's just not as simple as it sounds. There are a couple of things Google needs to do with this feature to clean it up before it's really going to become a killer feature, which I think it will be, but at this point in the game, it's just not. So what does Google need to do to fix this feature? Well, first, let me point out, you can only make calls from the Google Home. You can't make calls to it. So when someone calls your phone number, your Google Home is not going to ring. Now this is something I suspect Google will fix, especially for Android users when you have an Android integration with the Google Assistant all in your house. This is something that probably should happen, and I would suspect that Google will be announcing this pretty soon. Now, secondly, another problem with this calling feature is when you make a call from the Google Home, the person receiving that call is going to see that the call is coming in from an unknown name, unknown number, or a private number. And typically when that happens, people don't pick up and let it go to voicemail. So yeah, you can make calls from the Google Home, but if no one knows that it's you calling them, you're just going to hit a lot of voicemails. So it doesn't make that feature that great to use. Now there is a workaround for this. I just don't use this feature enough to have investigated in the workaround. From what I read, it seemed a little cumbersome, and it's not as simple as just going into the Google Home app, typing in your phone number, and then Google just magically makes the thing work, which is apparently what they're going to do. Google has says that they are going to fix this in the coming months, hopefully with an update out later this year. Now, one interesting thing about this calling feature is that it shows Google has obviously designed the Google Home and specifically the coloring of the Google Home, knowing that more colors and patterns will be introduced over time to represent new features. For example, when you use the calling feature of the Google Home, the ring of the Google Home lights up blue, which is something we've never seen before on a Google Home device. This just really shows Google thought way ahead when it designed the Google Home, knowing that it is going to be bringing a lot more features to Google Home customers over time. Well, that's all the major updates I had on the Google Home today. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you'll get notified the next time we have a video on Google or their products. And I can tell you, we'll be having more videos coming up very shortly because Google is rumored to announce a new Google Home product called the Google Home Mini, which will be priced at a rumored $49 to compete with Amazon's Echo Dot and will be unveiled sometime next month, most likely during Google's October 4th event. So until then, I'm Josh Tedder, and thanks so much for watching another video from 6 months later.